what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, the place where we set oppression ablaze. And we've got a lot of oppression. Unfortunately, sometimes the oppressors can look like us, or maybe actually not the oppressors. I guess the oppressors' stooges, the oppressors' lackeys, the oppressors' henchmen and women. Oh, you guys. If all the talk about Trump bringing fascism back, I'm sorry, what did we just see at the Democratic National Convention? A media blackout of the protests? An outright denial of a Palestinian speaker to address the convention? I'm sorry, fascism. As if fascism is coming. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Anyway, what's up, everybody? We are going to get into a lot of things, and let me give content warnings all over the place for tonight's program because my theme is basically the media blackout. You know what I'm saying? Not only of the protests and protestors in Chicago at the Democratic National Convention, but the continued media blackout and refusal to properly address Israeli war crimes that are continuing to happen right now in Gaza, which include bombing hospitals, bombing schools, murdering children by the thousands, and assaulting Palestinian detainees, or should better call them kidnapping victims, assaulting them until they die whilst in IDF custody. I have some stories here to get into tonight, guys, and it's going to be an interesting ride. It's going to be an interesting ride. So let me see with some futility if I can even get in the chat. And I know y'all like, Kim, you probably just don't press the buttons right. Possible. I don't deny that. That's a possibility. Howsomever, sometimes technology be fucking with me. Okay, like that is also a thing. Be it a factor of my age, or be it a factor of perhaps my, I don't know if unfounded paranoia. I don't know if that's proper. I don't think my paranoia is unfounded. I know where I am. I know who we're dealing with. I know what time it is. And yes, I cannot get in the chat. So I have to assume that all of our folks are in here. All of our folks are checking in. Thank you guys so much. Lead it off with the acknowledgement of all that came to our 1 million view Zoom party. The Fire Fam came through, represented. I appreciated those that were able to make the time. I do appreciate that very, very much. And so I wrote down all the names of the peoples that sent us things. And I'm realizing, even though I wrote it down, I'm like, I'm not exactly sure if I could read that. So let me see how that comes about. But I wrote down all the names, and now I'm looking at it like, how many minutes will it take me to try to get through these 3 pages of names? So anyway, it's not the time that I'm concerned about, its ability. So we'll give it a shot in a bit. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Let me say this real quick. The breaking news that happened late this afternoon, in case you guys haven't heard already. I'm sure you guys have heard because you all are extremely politically astute, savvy, and deeply plugged in. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Announced that he is suspending his campaign. He is removing his name off of the ballot, I believe, in 10 states, a number of those crucial swing states, including Pennsylvania and Arizona. I think Nevada was in there too. Ohio was in there too. And he has pledged his support behind Donald J. Trump, which didn't shock me at all. Of course, the Nepo babies are going to ride together. And that is the amazing thing about whiteness, right? Like, it doesn't matter which side you choose. If you're white, everybody wins. The white folks win. Well, actually, they don't win. The poor whites and working class whites do not win, by the way. I'm reading a book called White Trash, or rather, I'm listening to it. Who child? And it's written by a white woman, by the way, and she details the history of how lower class and poor white folks in America were treated by the upper classes and the upper crust. And when you hear the way that the upper whites describe the lower whites, baby, I said, damn, I thought they talked about us bad. My God, they are dragging the poor whites. It is fucked up. I almost felt bad for them. Almost, mind you, almost, not quite, but almost felt bad for them. But anywho, but RFK Jr. and Donald Trump, a pair of rich bitches, decide to roll together like some rich bitches. And I appreciate, shout out to Molly, who recycled somewhere a clip she found of me saying something about RFK basically being a sucker that I knew he was. And I was in deep confusion as to why so many YouTube political commenters, when RFK, was really percolating around here several months ago, said people paid way too much attention. people paid that shit way too much attention. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that Black people and people of color were so invested in a fucking American aristocrat from a legacy political family, whether or not this motherfucker got involved in the political presidential race and whether or not he ran as an independent. We already know what class he riding for. Who give a fuck? That RFK shit just always just befuddled. I was befuddled. And guys, let this be a lesson. Do not fucking pay attention to clowns. I don't care if they legacy clowns, wealthy clowns, they daddy was a somebody clown, they father, uncle, great grandfather was a fucking clown. Don't pay attention to goddamn clowns. And I know to our peril do we ignore the clownery, but at the same time, Jesus Christ. So anyway, RFK Jr., Donald Trump, together, wealthy white men united. That's the new name of the party. That's the name of the party. Wowzers. Anywho, so yeah. But for those that are convinced that fascism will rise again, only if Donald Trump is elected, beloveds, may I please point you to the recent days in Chicago at the Democratic National Convention. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Please join us, like, subscribe, comment, and chat with us. BIDWKB around the interwebs. I watched the DNC convention probably more than I wanted to. And I watched it on regular ass local news. I didn't watch it via the cable networks because I like to try to watch shit the way I perceive so-called regular people, right? People that are not super plugged into social media, not regular people. I guess old people. I don't know. I'm not sure. But for the folks that is definitely not watching the convention via Twitter, via TikTok, that are watching it on Channel 4, CBS, whatever, I like to try to watch it from that perspective. And what I found was it was widely dystopian. Okay. There was a huge disconnect between what was going on inside of the United Center and McCormick Place and what was happening on the outside in the streets of Chicago. You wouldn't even know that people were outside by the thousands if you were just watching Lester Holt and Savannah Guthrie. Now, again, I don't claim to have watched every minute and every second of the coverage, but I at least expected on occasion to perhaps catch a person outside on the street, maybe covering like a split screen of the whoever said speaker was at the convention, split screen with the activities that were absolutely happening outside. Okay. And that didn't happen. And it would lead you to believe that there was literally no opposition whatsoever to not only the Democrats' presence in Chicago, not only no opposition to Kamala Harris as the would-be nominee, though if Biden were still the incumbent seeking re-election, that same smoke would have been out there for Biden too. But the lack of even acknowledgement, right? They didn't even take the time to disparage the protesters. I need you guys to understand what the fuck I'm talking about. We're talking about blatant erasure, like not even attempting to cover the protests badly. Oh, the left-wing radical pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas protesters scaled a fence and they beaten with police. You know, there's a little bit of that, I think, on the local Chicago coverage. But again, on the national coverage, you wouldn't even know nobody was out there. Did you guys get that impression? Anywho, but you had to know better. Shout out to the good sis Ricky Ryan. She said this on the Remix Morning Show on Black Liberation Media this week. She said, if you didn't know, if you didn't know what fucking time, I'm paraphrasing here. Ricky said, if you didn't know what the fuck time it was, you would have thought that the situation was completely different, that Kamala and the Democrats were being warmly embraced by all, I guess, on that so-called side of the political spectrum, and that there was no challenge to it. And that is simply not true. So we have a montage, kids. We have a montage. You guys know I love protest scenes. I love to see people in the streets, period. I love to see people out riding for their beliefs. And mostly, I really love to see people out there for others, right? So here's what we're going to see. We've got clips from the good brother, Chuck Modiano, justice journalist. Of course, y'all know Chuck Modiano was out there. We've got clips also from Breakthrough News and from Status Quo News. Big up, big up. Shout out to all the independent journalists that took the time and made considerable efforts to go give the real perspective of what was happening in Chicago, away from the very glossy, shiny, well-produced spectacle that was happening for the elites. But what was really happening outside was a mixture of frustrations on behalf of people who are supporting Palestine, and of course, the usual expected cop violence. This was Chicago, of course. So we know how the CPD get down. They get down, right? So anyway, get comfy. This is a few minutes long, and I think you guys will mostly, appreciate the scenes and the journalism reflected in these local folks, not in local, but some local and independent media outlets. The journalism and the effort to tell the full story is absolutely appreciated by the likes of us here at BIDWKB. So let's get right into it. We'll go ahead and roll it.
The police are in front, and they keep saying press on the sidewalk, right? And police are very rarely in front of a rally. They're very rarely in front of a rally. And yesterday there were a whole bunch of arrests, and those arrests included media. And what was interesting about it is that when I asked, they said the media was off the sidewalk, that they told media to be on the sidewalk. Well, it's normally they let media be in the front, catch the front of the banner. But what normally happens after that is you get 3 or 4 warnings. They'll be like, all right, Chuck, if you don't get the fuck out of the street, I'm going to arrest you. Usually 3 or 4. What they were doing is people were stepping on the sidewalk, off the sidewalk, and they were just arresting media. Boom, just like that. No warning. There's police everywhere. So what happened last night is you saw a lot of media arrested. Why were they arrested? They're arrested because the police officers planned to arrest media, made a choice, made a decision to be letter of the law about a media trying to get a good shot. Well, why were they trying to get a good shot? Because you put them in a position where they couldn't get a good shot. I don't know, at what point do you not want media covering the actual protest? So that was some bullshit. And anyone who's been around the block for a while, any media is here, all the media are like, this is bullshit.
So that's 3 members of the press you've arrested so far. Hi, Unicorn Riot. My name's Talia. They've so far arrested 3 independent reporters, Josh Pacheco, Olga Fay, and a third person I'm not sure. They are credentialed members of the press who are here doing their jobs. There was no, easy to hear announcement. I had a guy come up to me directly and be like, press, please leave. And now they're doing this shit and pretending like any of those arrests were justified. We're doing our fucking jobs. And these fucking goons are acting like assholes for no reason.
Please get out to the street.
He's up on the steroids. Do something. Fucking idiots. We're doing our fucking jobs. Also, I love Unicorn Riot, and I hope people watching to this donate money to you. But, we come here to cover fucking protests. We're doing that. They go one at a time. Hey, press, you need to go. There's no megaphone announcement like they did when they said we had to go one side of the street that was blocked off and then everyone had to go the other way. There was no megaphone announcement. They were just, come on, press, come on. And then all of a sudden, the first person I see walked out of that crowd is a photographer who I know. and I start yelling, trying to find some kind of supervisor, white shirt, something.
Police are coming in behind us as well right now.
So what are they gonna do? Is this a fucking press protest now? Are they gonna crack our skulls now? There's no protesters left. What are you gonna fucking do? You're gonna break the cameras? So then we can't document your brutality? We're still gonna document it. We still have mouths. We don't shut up just because you guys want us to.
For the DNC, it's the final day, and you know the big news obviously is that Kamala Harris is scheduled to speak today. But really, the big cloud that's hanging over the DNC today is the fact that they denied a Palestinian speaker a speaking slot at the DNC. This was really controversial. It was a decision that came down last night. It was actually leaked by the Washington Post through an anonymous source, and they decided that they wouldn't allow any Palestinians to speak, despite the fact that they had let 2 Israelis, hostage families, speak at the DNC. They're not letting a Palestinian speak. It triggered the uncommitted delegates staging a sit-in outside of the DNC until it supports a permanent ceasefire and arms embargo. And we're seeing just, you know, the outpouring of anger here at the DNC. That's what we've been hearing all week, and it's all culminating today. So we're going to go on the march now and, you know, talk to some people, see how they're feeling. We're on the march here now with the veterans demanding ceasefire. There are a lot of them here, all down across the street, and we're here specifically with
Miles.
We're here with Miles,
Greg.
Nick. And why are you guys out here today?
Well, it's not a war, it's a genocide, and that's problematic. We keep sending money to a foreign military that doesn't follow international law, doesn't follow the Geneva Convention. And if you don't understand how that's dangerous, not just for everybody in the world, including yourselves, then, well, we're here to try and start agitating and then educating people.
Nick, what's your message to veterans who are in the service right now? They're seeing what's happening in Gaza, and they're questioning what they're doing in the military. What would you say to them?
I would say now is the time to stand up for your values. Now is the time to understand that this organization does not have your best interest at heart. You see it every single day when you go to work and you get exploited. You know it's true. You know it's true. It's time to face facts and admit that the problem is the system. The problem is not your bad leader. The problem is the military-industrial complex and the system that exploits veterans and pits them against other working-class people all over the world.
Over 100,000 people are dead and millions more lives are on the line. The stakes have never been higher. So let's go to those war criminals and let's make them fucking pay for their crimes against humanity.
Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Fuck the pigs! 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 Is it only? Fuck the pigs! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Move back!
Stay together in small groups.
Move back! Move back!
We're going to the trains. We want to get people home safe. We're not going to get you home.
Do not cross these bikes. Stay on the sidewalk.
Move back! Move back! You must comply or you will be arrested.
We want to get everybody home safe. We need to be able to move on the sidewalks so people can get to public transit. Why are you blocking us? The crew needs to move to public transit. You have stopped us at every opportunity to move. We need to move on the sidewalk. Let us through. Let us through. Let us through.
Whew, that was a bunch of interesting scenes there, though unsurprising. And per usual, in the United States, when there are protests, especially done or enacted by people who are oppressed or marginalized, all of these protests are peaceful until the fucking police show up. Whenever you hear mainstream news outlets categorize an event or an action and protests turn violent, no, police turn violent. That is the precipitating factor in all of these incidents. And to the extent that shit got violent, it did get a little rowdy out there in Chicago. And I want to big up definitely again all the independent media outlets that were there on the ground to bring us a story. Thank you. That was Status Quo Clip, the last thing we saw. Before then, Breakthrough News. We saw Chuck Modiano, Talia Jane. Shout out in solidarity to the Unicorn Riot photojournalists. Kamala Harris's. This happened with Kamala, y'all. Trump wasn't in that motherfucker speaking. It wasn't a MAGA convention inside. No. It was Democrats. Say comma la. Yeah, you getting all that. You getting all the soft hard sell onto Kamala and why we need Kamala to stave off fascism. That looked pretty fascisty to me out there, beloveds. And just a reminder, in case you had forgot, both Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, I guess we can still call him the sitting president. I don't know what the fuck Joe Biden is doing. But anyway, both of them have said repeatedly that their resolve and their determination to stand with Israel is, quote, ironclad. And I guess ironclad means that you will suppress the speech and the rights and the freedoms of people in America in order to promote and amplify the pro-Zionist message and how the United States and our government and our military and our even aspiring leaders all stand united with that ideology and with genocide that America is assisting Israel to do against the Palestinians. Make no mistake about that. And I want to shout out to our folks that are watching us from outside of the United States. Trust me, you likely got better coverage of the DNC protests than people actually living in this country. And I'm not saying that I'm not hyping that up. That is real fucking talk. The way that media is in this country is scary. Like, it's so insidious. And sometimes it's not even so much what they report, it's what they don't report. It's what's omitted. And the fact that there were tens of thousands of people in the streets of one of America's biggest cities, they're in the streets being confronted by the police, the fact that that was barely a blip on mainstream news outlets. By the way, that's why I keep pointing the finger and bigging up to the independent media outlets, because but for independent voices and cameras out there, we were not going to get any pictures like that. If you're watching ABC, NBC, CBS, I don't know, CNN usually would go out and do a little something, but fuck CNN. I don't watch no goddamn CNN. CNN is not a reputable news source, in my opinion. So I try not to consort with irreputable media outlets. That's not the kind of shit I choose to consume. So maybe the cable news outlets was out there. But again, I watch the network news, radio fucking silence. Not shocking. But as you guys remember, that again, Kamala Harris says that she is ironclad in support of Israel. I want us to take a listen about the conditions. I'm sorry. Yeah, she's ironclad in step with Israel and standing firm next to them per the genocide, right? So there has been news again, because if you think that the negotiations allegedly going on between the US and Israel and Hamas, and who else is involved? Egypt and Qatar and Jordan. Blinken and the Biden White House are trying to pressure Hamas into accepting a deal. And Hamas is like, you just killed one of our leaders in sovereign Iranian territory. The fuck you mean ceasefire? What you talking about? How does that even work? In America, how the fuck you trying to negotiate anybody's goddamn ceasefire while you still running weaponry by the billions, maybe almost knocking on $1 trillion out this joint? So here are the pictures. Okay, guys, I want to show you, get this. It's not even pictures. We're going to hear the accounts of two folks. One that I believe is in the Gaza Strip, one who just returned from the Gaza Strip. And these are healthcare workers. They are healthcare workers and they are aid workers. Because the atrocities that the IDF and the IOF forces are committing, it is outright genocide. They are war crimes. They are crimes against humanity. Don't believe me? Go investigate what the ICJ has issued. Go investigate the reports issued by the United Nations and the International Criminal Court, which has already issued warrants. They want Netanyahu and some of his cronies because y'all not playing fair. You don't bomb schools and hospitals. You don't knowingly attack children. Okay. The number of confirmed dead Palestinians right now is up to 40,000. But again, those numbers do not even begin to encompass the number of thousands of folks that remain beneath the rubble. Okay. This does not all include those that have been found in mass graves and mass graves yet to be discovered. And not to mention the starvation that is happening of the Palestinians. There have been reports from the World Health Organization that there are cases of polio starting to spring up in Gaza. This is a disease that had been eradicated, but because the infrastructure is destroyed, because Palestine's healthcare infrastructure is on its last teetering limb, we're starting to see the recurrence of all kinds of things, okay? And all of this could be prevented. All of this could be stopped if Joe Biden and now if Kamala wanted it to be, but they're not. So when Kamala says that she is ironclad in her support of Israel, I want you to listen the kind of shit that she is in ironclad support of. Let's go to Gaza and listen to the aid workers and listen to the healthcare worker that returned back and listen to how they describe the conditions that they are experiencing and that they witness. Let's take a listen.
Extremely devastating news coming out of the Strip today. Please take the time to watch this video and hit every single button on this side so that other people can see it too. If you don't know me, my name's Lex. I work for an NGO called Insan. We do medical evacuations from people in the Strip into Egypt. We also run field hospitals. And right now, all of our medics who are stationed at European Hospital have told us that they have received evacuation orders from the Israeli army. There are 400 patients inside of European Hospital right now, many of which are children who have received amputations and are therefore unable to walk. Now, normally there would be ambulances available to evacuate people, but the Palestinian Red Crescent has told our team at Insan directly that there are no ambulances available to help evacuate patients. These people cannot leave, they cannot move. And the last time an evacuation order like this was given to a hospital, it was Al-Shifa. And if you need me to take you through the horrors that happened at Al-Shifa after those orders were given, that's another video. Al-Shifa was turned into a mass grave. Multiple mass graves filled with doctors in scrubs who were hogtied and showed signs of being buried alive. Nurses and healthcare workers, this one is directly for you. There were patients in that mass grave who still had Foley catheters inside of them. They pulled remains out of the dirt that still had catheters and IVs and central lines in them. We need the international community to make an uproar about this. We must speak up. We know exactly what their plan is. They've done it before multiple times. We cannot let them do it again. We are talking about another hospital potentially being turned into a cemetery, into a mass grave. And we have the power to stop it, but we need you, wherever you're watching this video, to start calling your representatives, to start emailing, to start posting, to start speaking about what is happening at European Hospital. Because there are 400 patients who are not able to move that are relying on us to keep them alive. Please follow Insan. We're on Instagram. Please follow our medics, Dr. Mohammed Harara, Dr. Ahmed Abu Mustafa. All of our medics are amazing. They are all currently safe, I think, as the last time I checked, which was like 15 minutes ago. But this situation is unfolding, and a lot of us are fearing for the worst.
I may have a hard time doing this. I went to Gaza about 3 weeks ago, came back after being there for about 3 weeks. I primarily worked in the ICU and in the emergency room in Al-Aqsa Hospital. I thought, I'm not a politician and I'm not a military strategist, but the moment we drove through Rafah with a UN convoy towards the middle area where we were going to be stationed, it became clear to me that what I was seeing was unfathomable. There was a young woman who got laid up right next to the young boy I was treating. She was 22 or 23 years old, full body surface area burns. And she was unable to speak because she likely had inhalational injury because the same burns that burned her skin likely burned her airway. And a woman screamed from outside the door, Hamil, she's pregnant. And so we turned her over quickly because she had come in, lay down on her belly, and somebody put an ultrasound probe on her belly, and she had a viable 18 to 20-week pregnancy. But when we did our secondary survey and tried to understand what other injuries she had a shattered tib fib from an explosive injury. She had burns that covered over 70% of her surface area, which is a death sentence in an environment where you can't find gauze and there isn't clean water and there aren't antibiotics. We all knew what this meant on the ground in the trauma bay the first minutes we met her. She was gonna die there and her baby would die there. And there was nothing we were gonna be able to do about it because the Israeli government and the IDF had made it impossible to care for people to the extent which they deserve. Every human being deserves the right to medical aid in that situation. She was no fighter. She was a pregnant woman who was sitting in her home when a bomb dropped on her head. And she eventually moved to the ICU. And every day she lived until she died, she was in pain. Because we didn't have the kind of medicine we needed to care for her pain. And when wound care came, in America, I'd give her two Dilaudid before changing her wound dressings. And there I could give her nothing. And every morning when we'd round, we'd stop by her bed first. And every one of us and the Gazan medical professionals who are heroes that one day will get to be here and tell you their stories themselves so I don't have to tell it for them. We'd all keep our mouths shut and keep the tears held back because we knew we couldn't do anything and we knew the inevitable was coming. Until one day I walked in and the bed was empty.
I mean, and there are literally thousands of these kinds of stories, and as heartbreaking as they are, and again, civilians are who we're talking about here. The people that are bearing the brunt of Israeli missiles and bombs and drone strikes and attacks. It is people. It's regular people. It's pregnant women. It's small children. It's elderly folks. It's people who are not doing the fighting. But the Israelis keep letting the bombs, the American paid for and made for bombs, continue to fall. Kamala Harris is ironclad in support of Israel. She is in ironclad support of war crimes being committed with American weapons, with American support, and with American permission. Again, I know this is nothing new. For those that know the history of this country, let's even talk about the recent history of this country, right? Not what the fuck America care about killing thousands of children. Look at what was done in Afghanistan. 500,000 Iraqi children dead, countless others born with congenital birth defects, right? Because of the chemical munitions that poisoned Iraq's air, water, and soil, right? This is what America does. America don't give a fuck about the kids. America don't even give a fuck about its own kids. Okay. All the more reason why we need to overturn the system, and what we need to understand and need to keep fundamentally explaining to our people, that whether or not Kamala Harris is the president or whether or not Donald Trump is the president, on this issue, nothing changes. And quite frankly, on a number of issues, nothing changes. On the border, nothing changes. As far as environmental justice and protections go, nothing changes. That's why, that's why we have to be ready to not only hold Kamala's feet to the fire, because, the campaign is doing well, I suppose, coming off the momentum of the Democratic National Convention. She had all the stars, all those coons for Kamala. they all came out to, coon all their support. She's going to get a bit of a bump now, but it's going to be a tricky little race here. But just remember, when it comes to genocide is a bipartisan issue of which both wings of this filthy fucking bird, I guess called democracy in America, they don't have no problem coming together and activating their support for something like that. So I know you guys heard, by the way, thank you all so much for watching. Will said we got a lot of people in here tonight. Trolls, listen, be easy. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all can wave y'all Trump 2024 flag all the fuck you want. I don't care. I'm gonna be sad to see Donald go, in a way, because that motherfucker's hilarious. Can I tell y'all real quick? My mama told me, she was over here. She said, she said Trump wants to have an award ceremony for the J6 hostages. I said, can I go? Can I please come to the J6 award ceremony? Can I please be there? Please, so I can see all these patriots in the flesh. Wow. Please, I'll go up in there with my camera. Tell me what it was like to punch the U.S. Capitol Police in the face. I want to hear all about it. Speak slow and don't leave anything out. Oh, you know which one gave the U.S. Capitol Police the bear mace to the face? Yes. Can I talk to him, her, whoever they may be? Can someone arrange that interview? Would love. Would love. And by the way, I mean, they're all my enemies, so fuck them all. But god damn, whew, what a day. J6, crazy. But anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Be sure to engage with the content, like, share, subscribe. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. So I'm sure you all saw this some weeks ago, but not that long ago, where the footage of IDF soldiers gang sexually assaulting a Palestinian detainee, a kidnapping victim, basically. The video was leaked. I'm not even sure what the State Department said about it, to be honest. I would hope they were asked. I did not follow up to see what the State Department comment was, if anything. But you guys need to know this, and I'm sure you all don't know, but some of y'all do know, and some of y'all don't. Will, throw up that article for me. So Truth Out has a good piece out here. Hold on, where's my thing? Let me make my screen a little brighter so I can see the shit. But it talks about Israel is torturing Palestinian prisoners to death, okay, with U.S. complicity, 100%. And the article goes on to talk about a recent report that was issued by a Palestinian humanitarian agency that talks about the rampant nature of sexual assault as a form of torture against Palestinian prisoners. Prisoners are also being forcibly starved. They are being sleep deprived. It reminds you a lot of the accounts of what happened in Guantanamo Bay, the US run military base in Cuba, where many so-called Al-Qaeda quote terrorists, or actually let's say they call them what they are, resistance fighters, were shipped. And not only so-called terrorists, not terrorists, resistance fighters, but plenty of regular ass fucking people, overwhelmingly young men and boys who didn't have shit to do with shit, who just happened to be brown and be around, and they got snatched up. Some of them Canadian citizens, some of them citizens of Western countries. America didn't give a goddamn single shit. Guantanamo Bay for your torture. Go to Abu Ghraib in Iraq for your torture, for your sexual humiliation and exploitation, for the purposes of nothing else than, I suppose, the sadistic entertainment of U.S. military figures. I mean, what the fuck? What purpose does this serve? Exactly. But we know that rape is a tool of war, okay? And Western nations are definitely guilty of this, currently and historically. And here come Israel with this. So we have thousands of Palestinians who are being illegally detained in Israel. Overwhelmingly, most of those people, again, regular civilians. And what they are finding is that for those that end up getting out or being released, number one, they get recaptured. And anyway, it's crazy. But one of the things is that most of the Palestinian men who have been in Israeli custody suffer some sort of rectal injury. Okay. It's because they are being sexually assaulted. And this is standard operating procedure for the Israeli Defense Force. Okay. And let's see, I don't even know where to start here, guys. So let's actually go to the tweet, to the video tweet. Okay. And this is, I believe, a BBC piece. And for those that are not familiar with the story, you need to get familiar, okay? They don't talk about this on MSNBC. They don't talk about this on Fox News. They don't talk about this on the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. They don't talk about this in America. They do not want Americans to know that its number one ally is actively raping people in its custody. The military is doing this, okay? And I'm sure maybe America wouldn't be shocked. Maybe America and Americans wouldn't even maybe take offense to that. But I hope anyway, Jesus, I can't say this for a fact, but I hope that most people in this country are good. I really do hope that most people in this country are not pieces of shit. I'm hoping most people in this country have some sort of empathy, meaning that you wouldn't want some sort of treatment to occur to you in the same way that this treatment is occurring to these people. And what for? Because they happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, because they have their homeland in a war zone. Like, nobody deserves this. Nobody deserves this, even if they are so-called Hamas fighters. I don't give a fuck. There is a sickness in someone that would commit rape against anybody, war zone or otherwise. But we're not. So this link is this clip is several minutes long. So we are not going to watch the whole thing, but we are going to rock about with the first maybe 3 to 4 minutes, because it's compelling. And if you can, you should take me off and try to make it as big as possible, because there's going to be some subtitles under here also. So I want the folks to be able to read as best you can. I had difficulty, but read what's being said here as best as you can, so you can kind of get some understanding about what has been done to Palestinians in Israeli custody, again with the tacit support of the Biden White House and the U.S. military. Rape is a tool of war. Will, let's go ahead and run it.
واحد من وراك يخط لك كاف اغلط بالعربي بالعبري يا بن زنا يا بن حرام.
Thousands of Palestinians have been detained in Gaza, taken away by Israeli forces to prisons and military bases, accused of links to Hamas. Some will be fighters, but many are just civilians. Those released allege horrific torture.
لما مسكتني من خصيايا ومن بشري وجرحتني في ايدها في اظافرها وغرزتهم في بشري من كتر ما صرت اصرخ صرت عض في السلك الله عزك زي الكلب.
We've been investigating allegations of widespread sexual abuse, a war crime. We've spoken to half a dozen former prisoners.
بس لا هو طرفة هيك خملها زي هيك القد حديد لما تفتحها زي هيك ويحط لك اياها جوا بخلي مخك يطلع.
On social media, Israeli soldiers have openly mocked their captives, posing for selfies alongside them. Out of sight, they appear to have done far, far worse. This is leaked CCTV video of what Israeli military police allege is a detainee being sodomized as he's hidden from the view of security cameras by riot shields. The arrest of a group of soldiers accused of involvement has outraged Israel's powerful far right. A furious mob gathered outside the base, Israel's most notorious detention camp, Side Taman, calling for the soldiers' release. For many Israelis, these protesters are dangerous extremists, but amongst them are senior members of Prime Minister Netanyahu's government.
אתם צריכים להבין, מחבלי הנוח'בות שאנסו, טבחו והתעללו בבני עמנו, מצאו שיטה חדשה, הולכים ומתבכיינים ומשתנקרים שאיזה חייל נגע בהם.
What happens in Side Taman is murky and secretive. These photos by a whistleblower give a rare glimpse. Detainees bound, blindfolded like this at all times. We spoke to the man you see here. Ibrahim has now been released back into Gaza. He was taken away by Israeli soldiers from a hospital where his children were being treated without explanation, held for 8 months at multiple sites. This photo, he says, was taken whilst he was being punished for trying to help another sick prisoner.
العقاب انك تقف على القدير بالساعتين تقف ضلك واقف زي هيك بهاي الشكل رافع ايديك بدك اساعدك بيجيك بقول لك بدك اساعدك اريحك تقول له ريحني قول انا ابن شرموطه قول انا اخو شرموطه قول انه نتنياهو اختي.
Detainees taken from Gaza are unable to contact their families. Hardly any have access to lawyers. A controversial Israeli law means they can be held for indefinite periods of time without being convicted. Ibrahim says torture was widespread, especially during interrogations.
انت قتلت اخوتي قصفت دارنا اي اساس بتقول اي وين الاسرى وين ايش بعرف وين الاسرى ساقني في اماكن حساسه كان يضربني في اماكن حساسه ساقني فيها كذا مره عابت ما انا يعني كنت يعني اصيح زي الاطفال فلما شافني بصيح وانا صرت اقول له انا عيان انا مش قادر انا مريض اللي هو ايش بقول لي كلكم ممثلين انتوا شعب ممثل انت كذاب.
Hundreds of detainees have been released back into Gaza, frail, still bearing scars from incarceration. The worst torture Ibrahim says he faced, sexual assault.
طمل طبعا وانت مطمل بتبقى بقول هدول بيبقوا شباب وبنات الطرف في الطيز بتنحط بس لا هو طرفة هيك خملها زي هيك القد حديد لما تفتحها زي هيك ويحط لك اياها جوا بخلي مخك يطلع.
5 soldiers from Side Taman are under house arrest, accused of aggravated sodomy of another detainee. in the most high-profile case linked to the site.
That's the entrance to the Sudei-Taman base just over there. We're not allowed inside. Even the Red Cross has been denied access. The details of this one particular incident are horrific. A doctor treating the victim said he suffered broken ribs and a tear in his lower bowel as a result of an item being inserted into his anus. The abuse allegedly meted out inside the base is believed to be much, much more widespread than this one case.
The
Well, that's
Israeli
good.
army says it's investigating the deaths of more than...
That's whew, I think that's one extra. I'm pretty sure that's the BBC. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to watch the whole thing, because the few minutes that we just saw there was quite enough. Okay. Kamala Harris' support of Israel is ironclad. Okay. That's exactly what that means. The United States, and again, this didn't begin with Kamala. This goes back, okay? You know, for the folks that have been exploring the history of the dispossession of the Palestinians from their land and the creation of the pretend place, you know what I'm saying? Like, Kamala is just the latest in a long line, but that's kind of the point, though, right? Like, all of this support that she is getting, specifically from Black folks. Can I talk about Black folks? I know we got some whites with us. Y'all can worry about yourselves in the meantime. But I'm concerned, okay, about this sort of blind willingness to just go ahead and stand behind Kamala Harris, no matter what, simply because her name is not Donald Trump, simply because she is not Joe Biden. These are not good enough reasons to elect somebody to govern us all, right? But if they are going to continue to support policies like this, the known torture and sexual exploitation and assault and abuse of civilians, the knowing bombing of hospitals and schools, knowing that there are children, pregnant people, people who are not themselves fighters or combatants, Israel is doing all of this strategic and with plenty of foreknowledge about what their targets are. They know who the fuck they're bombing, and they're bombing kids and women and people that are not fighters intentionally. And for people that are men, they are here to I mean, I'm not even certain the ramifications of rape in Islam. I don't know what that is, right? When I say ramifications, I don't know how it's viewed. I don't know if it's a sin. I don't know if it's a source of shame. I mean, I don't know the context, but I guess I don't have to fucking know what the context of rape is in any particular religion. It is a crime against humanity, period, point blank. Don't matter what the religion, creed, race, ethnicity, nationality, gender identity of anyone that is on the receiving end of a sexual assault. It is an abhorrent action that is meant to dehumanize and to exert dominance, right? And in this case of the detainee that you heard mentioned towards the end of that package, possibly death. What even drew me to this story was I was scrolling through the socials, and someone mentioned that allegedly, and I could not confirm this, but the man whose CCTV footage had been leaked of these, I believe, 6 IDF soldiers gang raping them, that this person has passed away as a result of their injuries. In fact, that person, and I have not been able to confirm that, but what was confirmed, I believe in this piece, and I think also by a piece in Truth Out, that same Truth Out piece that we had up earlier, is that the person was unable to walk after this brutal attack. Unable to walk. That sounds like paralyzed, right? So this is the kind of thing that Israel is actively doing. Israel is doing this with the world watching. And the amazing thing is, Americans, it's only us that don't know this shit is happening. I've seen similar pieces from British television, from Australian television, The atrocities being committed by the Israelis is being well documented from outside of this fucking closed off colony. Okay, the ways in which Americans are separated from information from the rest of the world is quite impressive, quite remarkable. When foreigners, I love the word foreigner, by the way, I love saying it, foreigner. I love when people not from here travel here and they cut on the news, they're like, wow, I guess nothing is going on anywhere else, huh, America? Because y'all don't know shit about shit. We anyway. But that is with intention, everybody. That is with intention. Republicans and Democrats alike, liberals and conservatives alike, don't want you to be fully apprised of the atrocities that this country is actively supporting and signing off on, and actively sending military resources and other forms of support to continue, right? What changes if Americans know this and are conscious of it and fully aware of it? What changes with these conflicts? Does anything change? Does the American government, or rather the American military complex, give a fuck about what y'all got to say about the shit? Absolutely not. And if you don't believe me, take a look at what just happened in Chicago. What just happened in Chicago? Under the administration of a black mayor, Brandon Johnson, under the leadership from law enforcement, from a black police chief, Chief Snelling. It's a G. Don't y'all love the way that the fascism is being dispensed with smiling black faces telling us that we need to move along. Black faces like the chief of police of Chicago, black faces like Kamala Harris, black faces the likes of Barack and Michelle Obama, black faces the likes of Hakeem Jeffries and Cory Booker, black faces from the Congressional Black Caucus literally telling us, thank Joe Biden for his patriotic service. Can you fucking imagine me as a black person in America thanking Joe Biden for doing anything except being unalive? like I will thank him on that day and that day alone will I thank him for no longer being amongst us here with the living. But until then, it is fuck Joe Biden. Okay, it is fuck Joe Biden, 2 middle fingers in the air, 10 toes down, every fucking day, 24/7. Chilling, 24/7, chilling, tougher than penicillin from the block where the crooked cops kill us like a villain. Listen, get your people in order, get your people in line. And here's the thing, everybody. When it comes to Kamala and it comes to black folks in this nation, you guys, if you don't support Kamala Harris, you are about to be in for a shit of storm, okay? From your folks, from Democrats, from your family members, from your co-workers. What you mean you're not gonna vote for Kamala? What you want, Trump to be president? I need fingers pointed. What's the damn difference between Kamala and Trump at this point? Abortion. That is correct. Now, here's the interesting thing. There are a number of states this upcoming election with abortion referendums on the ballot, right? So interestingly enough, as much as I despise the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned, but I'm also super keenly aware of the fact that even if Kamala and the Democrats do regain the White House, even if they do retain a majority in Congress, they're not going to do fuck all to enshrine abortion rights federally, because they've had the opportunities to do it numerous of times. Most recently, I believe, under the Obama administration, Obama said, maybe we'll get to it. Maybe we won't. He said, maybe we'll prioritize it. Maybe the fuck we won't. And the answer was the fuck they did not. Okay. So you could blame Democrats for even having the opportunity for Roe v. Wade to be overturned and for it to be consequential for people, right? That's their fault. But I want you guys to remember, hold on. I keep getting word that there's a lot of people in here. Can you please like the video while you're in here? I hope you're not giving my mods too tough a time in here, newbies. We are the Fire Fam. This is Burn It Down with Kim Brown, okay? We burn shit down over here. I'm hoping to burn down some of y'all waywards fucking allegiances. And I'm not talking to the fire fan. I'm talking about all the fucking randos I'm sure we have in here that's in here popping big shit about Trump and about America. Y'all need to understand Trump is exploiting you and grifting you as much as Kamala and the Democrats are exploiting and grifting black people. Working class whites, poor whites, y'all need to wake the fuck up and understand it is Trump and his cronies. Like the Peter Thiels, who is the mother bammers that Trump like to roll with? The Roger Stones, Sheldon Adelsons. Yeah, they playing on the fact that y'all maybe not so educated. Not so educated on much. You know how they know you're not so educated? Because they were in charge of the policies to make sure that you and your children remain miseducated, to make sure that you felt animus towards black people and towards Latinos. And by the way, shout out to Abby. I'm going to bring this up on the Remix Morning Show next week. A story that I keep seeing coming out of Colorado, posted by black folks talking about, yeah, the Venezuelans is taking over the apartment complex and people is scared. It's the Venezuelan gangs. Oh my God. I need black people to stop thinking that Latinos and immigrants are your fucking enemy. Baby, the wealthy whites are your enemy. Always has been. The wealthy whites, the powerful, the elites, they are also the enemies of these migrants that are walking 3,000 fucking miles just to come here. These black folks talk about, oh, Chicago is full. New York is full. Don't send no more immigrants here. We can't do nothing. Let me explain something to y'all. Even black people living in the most impoverished corners of Chicago, New York, DC, Philadelphia. Guess what? Y'all motherfuckers ain't walking 3,000 miles no fucking where, okay? like as bad as shit might be in the motherfucking Badlands in North Philly, I assure you, motherfuckers is not about to pack they shit, pack they kids, and start footing it any goddamn where. So put yourself in the shoes of these migrants. Put yourself in their shoes. Why the fuck you think they would walk 1,000 miles, ride a bus for thousands more miles? What, to come take a hotel room? Be serious. America has fucked them, fucked their economy, fucked up the political system where they live, fucked up the climate where they live. This is why they are coming here, because this is where the spoils of the empire live, okay? And the sooner that black folks understand that these migrants, which by the way, all of them are not Latino, there are a number of African and Caribbean folks that are included in the migrant population that is coming at the southern border. So we need to check that shit in our speech as well. But these people are coming here because they have no other choice. And yeah, the situation in poor black areas may be dire as well. I assure you, niggas ain't packing up shit and walking no fucking where. You niggas not even walking to goddamn Canada, and it's right next door. And it damn sure, Canada to Chicago, or rather Chicago to Canada, ain't nowhere near as far as goddamn Honduras is to Nogales, Texas, and then onward northward on a bus. For destinations and parts unknown, but I digress. Oh, by the way, that's Kamala's policy as well, everybody. You think Kamala's any different than Trump on the border? She ain't. You think kids ain't in cages under Joe Biden? They are. You think families aren't being separated? They are. You think people who are coming here submitting very legitimate applications for asylum, are they getting shit on right now? Yep. Democrat in the White House. That's happening right now. So the demands need to be sharpened, right? The questions for Kamala and these Democrats need to be sharp, and they need to be clear. And we better not accept no kind of ambiguity, okay? No vague answers. Well, we understand there's a crisis at the border. Well, Israel has a right to defend itself. No, Israel does not have a fucking right to defend itself via genocide, okay? Committing genocide, bombing the shit out of thousands of children is not actually defending yourself, okay? There needs to be consequences of the political kind, okay? I'm not certain what the uncommitted vote, the uncommitted folks are going to do here as it comes to this race. And as we are only what? 2 months out ish. It's just going to be ugly kids either way. Either way. But don't you forget for a second that Kamala, along with Joe Biden, along with all these AIPAC Democrats and Republicans, by the way, Trump too, their resolve with Israel is ironclad. Ironclad. Okay? Through rape, through bombing kids, through bombing mosques, schools, hospitals. Their resolve with Israel is ironclad. And if that's okay with you, then you need to reassess where your moral compass is. You need to reassess the way that you value, or rather do not value, human life. And the problem with Americans, one of many problems with Americans, is that basically we are taught and conditioned to devalue other lives in favor of our own, right? Like you'll hear about a disaster, natural, some shit happens overseas where people are killed. 66 dead, including 3 Americans. Like it's like, well, you could have left it at 66 dead. I didn't, I didn't need to know specifically that Americans perished, but regardless, but it's always framed that way so that you can think or believe that our lives or the lives of people that are born in this country have more value than those other places. And that's not the case. And all of that patriotic rhetoric coming from Kamala in her acceptance speech at the DNC, I thought it was absolutely disgusting. Because when you say that this is the greatest country in the world, then that means that you support and endorse the means in which America maintains that dominance. How does it do that? To the tune of 800 military bases around the world. I'm sorry. Please show me the nation, any country that can come put a base in America. Nobody can do that. Nobody's allowed to do that. But America does that all over the place. I'm sorry. You think people like us because of that? You think people want to see us do well in life when we come and occupy their shit? Absolutely not. So anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go here. I'm sorry. I've yammered on quite a bit. Do me a favor, please. Engage with the content. Give us a like on your way out the door. Follow us places around the internet. BIDWKB. That's us on Instagram, Facebook, at Burn It Down KB on Twitter. I do not acknowledge the letter X when it's used blasphemely by apartheid Clyde in trying to rename Twitter when Twitter had a perfectly fucking fine name called Twitter. If you want to support us with some material support, you can do that as well. BIDWKB, that's us on Cash App. That is us on Venmo, paypal.me/BIDWKB, and us on patreon.com/BIDWKB. Okay, guys, I have figured out what I'm going to do here. I have written the names down. I'm not going to read these names, unfortunately, because it would probably literally take me 8 minutes to do so. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask one of our folks here to make a slide, to make a thumbnail with the names on it, and we will post them. Or maybe I'll send one of y'all the link and y'all could just read the names for me. Please and thank you. That'd be so swell. Thank you so much. But I wrote them down. I wrote them down. So y'all have been acknowledged through my hand and in my pen and on this paper. So thank you if you've ever sent any support, especially if you sent support during the summer fundraiser. We appreciate it so much. We are independent media here. If you're new here, gang, I'm not a Democrat nor a Republican. I'm a common senseologist. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't dig America. America been bad. Oh, it's been real bad. And 250 years, sheesh, I think it's time for this colony to start wrapping it up. Don't you think? We're about to, I won't say celebrate because I will not be celebrating, but we are about to mark 250 years of the existence of this rotten fucking colony in 2 years. And I'm telling you, it's time to control delete this bitch and start again. It's time to do a hard factory reboot of America, not make it America. We need to give land back. We need reparation. We need all the things. And most importantly, whites, we need y'all to wake the fuck up. Go read the book white trash. It was written by a white lady, so don't think it's, some kill whitey rhetoric. It's not. It's not. And shout out to the white folks that will read their own people, will drag their own people for filth. I love it. I'm only on chapter 3, and I have to say, there has been a number of times where I've had to stop the book because I'm listening to it on a audiobook, and I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing because the British gentry, the genteel Brits who came and founded this nation, oh, they didn't think much about that they called crackers. By the way, hello, cracker is an English term to describe the poor whites. See, y'all thought black people came up with cracker. No. It be your own niggas. It be your own niggas, whites. It be your own niggas. White folks came up with crackers. Okay, so when I say cracker, I'm just maintaining and upholding a long long tradition of whites being called crackers, but the other whites did that first. So yeah, I'm learning a lot from the book. It's pretty interesting. So maybe you should check it out and learn a thing too about your history, and with the likes of a Trump, and with the likes of a RFK Jr., with the likes of all of these rich bastards that y'all dumb motherfuckers look up to as the success stories of America, when they have made their successes exploiting you and your descent, you and your ancestors. Hate to see it. You hate to see it. Woo! Anyway, thank you so much to our mods. I know you guys were out there working. Thank you so much to Courtney, Latif. What's up, Dawn, Frey Knot, Hannah Hart. Wait, what? What? You talking all over me? What?
Sorry. Alizarian, thank you for your super chat.
Alizarine.
Sorry. Teresa, thank you for your super chat. And Armchair Marxian, thank you for your super chat. I think I got that right.
Buck. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to our all-stars out here. Chichi Macha. What's up, John Kemper? Who else coming through? Swery Ferry. I'm just guessing. I don't know who the fuck's in here. What's up, Rosalba? What's up, Northern Witch? Check us on Twitch too at BIDWKB on Twitch. Who else is our usual? Okay, Fran French, of course. Can't forget Fran French. What's up, Warren Aura, John Kemper, KJ Sakuma, Chichi Macha? I shut you out. All right. Up. Well, someone just put something else up. What's that say?
Commuted just ran us some bucks. Thank you, Commuted and Vesper X.
Thank you.
Facts don't matter to the propagandized informant.
What's the facts though, Vesper? Vesper, why don't the whites think that they haven't been exploited out here? But that's the problem. They think that they got exploited by niggas. These blacks and these Hispanics are taking her. They took her jobs. No, baby. The elite whites took your jobs the fuck to China. Okay? It wasn't Jose and them. Jose and them didn't walk 1,500 fucking miles to take your job. Your fucking job got took by Bill Clinton and them in NAFTA. Okay? Your job got took by all these wealthy motherfuckers that y'all admire and look up to and jerk off to. Them shits got shipped to Cambodia and Vietnam. They took her jobs. Y'all mad at the Hispanics. Get a goddamn life. Y'all need to smarten up, Nas. Get it together. Figure out who y'all real fucking enemy is. And it was never black people, by the way. You know what I'm saying? I love how the racist whites think that, we both did racism. Like black people did racism sometimes. The racist whites be like, yeah, we had the Klan, but y'all did racism too sometimes. Never, motherfucker. Never. I assure you, if there was any white that was ever lynched by a group of black people whilst being called a cracker, please submit me to evidence. I would love to see it. And I assure you, when the racist whites was burning down black areas, black sections of town, in towns and cities across this country, literally for hundreds of fucking years, I assure you, mobs of black people did not show up to the white part of town and start burning their shit down. Okay? I assure you, white children were never harassed by mobs of black men. simply because the white kids was walking in the wrong side of town, or the white kids drank from the coloreds only water fountain. So here come a mob of angry blacks talking about you're not supposed to be drinking out of a water fountain. No, all that shit was one-sided, beloveds, one side. Know your history, but y'all don't want to know it because y'all scared. Anyway, I'm gone. I want to thank everybody. Give the video a like on your way out the door. We will see y'all back here on Tuesday. Please, tomorrow, go tune in. Black Liberation Media, Saturdays with a Renee. Be sure to be in the place. Sundays with the ear doctor on Sunday. And join us again for the Remix Morning Show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Black Liberation Media, 8 a.m. Eastern. Please go subscribe to the Remix Morning Show YouTube channel as well. Go push some buttons for Black Liberation Media. And thank you so much to Will and Molly. And we will see y'all back here Tuesday. Love you guys. See y'all later. Have a good weekend, y'all. Peace, 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 peace.